How's it going, Twitch? My name is Skull, and on behalf of East Asia Soft, welcome to today's stream. Also, hello to anyone from YouTube who might be watching the VOD later. Today is Sunday, which means I am continuing my playthrough of If My Heart Had Wings. It's been 2 weeks since I played this game. Last week I played a little bit of Crimson Spires, and well, I'm really excited to continue this. I love playing this game. I love seeing the story unfold. Just adding more and more layers as we play through. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to playing it again tonight. Also, as a reminder, we do still have a few limited editions available if you want to buy this physically on the Switch. Regular editions are sold out. There's less than 100 limited editions left, and once they're gone forever. So if you have enjoyed watching me play through this game and you want the opportunity to play it yourself, or to keep it on your shelf for the rest of your life, then be sure to head over to PlayAsia and pick it up. So, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and load up our save file. Right here. Excuse me. We headed to the hangar. The first thing was to make the new wings. The same way as before, it started with us making the shape from Cyberfoam. We already had experience doing this, so we could get to work without delay. She was teaching Asa how to do it properly.
ゆっくりよ、ゆっくり。その調子よ。慎重にね。ちょっと、どこ切ってんの？葵、ここ押さえてて。
Yep, these girls need help. Sure.
広いと作業しやすいわね。
Yeah, it's a little hot though. Not where I live. Right now it is 72 degrees. It's getting nice and chilly here this early November. There was no air conditioning in the hangar. We were using a fan that we had brought with us. While dripping with sweat, we became immersed in the work.
あんな汗だくで必死な顔しちゃって。理解の外にいる頑張り屋さんばかりね。
Yoru, who was leaning against the wall, turned to leave the hangar. Yoru, are you leaving?
飲み物買ってくるだけ。ここ暑くて死にそうだもの。姉さん、何かいる？じゃあサイダー。
Look at them. I love it when they show the girls in identical poses. It's just so adorable.
他の先輩方は？
Huh?
ああ。じゃあウーロン茶。私はコーラ。
Me too.
サイダーとウーロン茶とコーラ2つね。
What's the difference between soda and cola? With an aloof expression on her face, Yoru left the hangar. We looked at each other curiously, but we didn't really say anything and went back to work. I wonder what that's about. Although we had begun the glider improvement project with no issues, there was still something we had left to do. That was cutting the grass on the runway. We gathered some people to help with the work on a midsummer Saturday afternoon under the blazing hot sun. About halfway through the work, Kotori and I went to greet the landowner at their home.
暑い。溶けちゃうよ、夜ちゃん。ならこっち来て一緒に休めば？日陰涼しいよ。ジュースもあるわよ。ほら頑張って朝ちゃん。これやらないと飛べないんだから。はい。
I pushed Koteri's wheelchair back to where the others, covered in sweat, were working.
おかえり。おかえりなさい先輩。どうしたんですか？
Asa asked once she saw Koteri's gloomy expression.
みんなごめん。
Everyone was puzzled by Koteri coming back with her head lowered in apology.
どうしたの？何かあったの？滑走路を借りられなくなった。
Aw, sad face.
なんで？
Agea, who was now even more puzzled, looked at me, who had accompanied Koteri. They said we can't use it. The landowner was an old member of the soaring club, and last year they had willingly let us use the runway. But this year, we couldn't use it.
実は
Koteri told everyone the situation. That person knew that the soaring club had lost its status. The school had requested that they not allow members of the ex-soaring club to use the runway. The one who contacted them was, surprise, Mr. Tobioka. Because it didn't count as club activities, if any problems occurred, they couldn't be held responsible. That's why they couldn't let us use it, even if they wanted to. We couldn't argue with that. It wasn't their fault at all, and they apologized over and over.
またあのおっさんか。だからどこまで邪魔する気よ。
He probably realizes that we are carrying out our activities in secret. He must already know that it was us who took the glider from the storeroom.
ごめんなさい。私のせいだわ。私がこんな体だから余計に警戒されちゃったのよ。
Aww. What? That's got nothing to do with it.
なんでそうなるわけ？
Koteri was acutely aware of something in the landowner's reaction. It was about Koteri's condition. If something were to happen to someone disabled like Koteri, it was possible that it would become an even bigger problem. I didn't think about that. Although the landowner hadn't actually said anything like that, it seemed that Mr. Tobioka had made that implication. They didn't say it directly, but it seems that the school had said something like that to them.
何それ？最低。
However, that was not the root of the problem. The real reason they refused was because the soaring club was officially disbanded.
じゃあ飛べないんですか？滑走路がないんじゃお手上げね。そんな。
Asa looked sadly at her hands that were covered in dirt from pulling up weeds.
他の場所探してみたら？無理よ。平らで十分な広さがある土地なんて限られてるもの。バカみたい。
Yoru, who was sitting in the shade listening to our conversation, spoke like she was irritated. Koteri glared angrily at her.
その程度で諦めちゃうわけ？さっきまでやる気満々だったくせに。何よ、あんたには関係ないでしょ？あるわよ。あの場所を貸してるし、姉さんだって巻き込まれちゃってるし。でもその程度ならさっさとやめちゃった方がいいかもね。ヨルちゃん、やめて。本当のこと言ってるだけよ、私は。
What she said was all valid. If we gave up because of something like this, it would have been better if we'd never even started in the first place. That was why no one had said anything to say back to her. We won't give up. Isn't that right, Koteri?
ええ、もちろんよ。
Just as things were starting to go well, we were hammered back down. But we weren't ones to lose heart at this kind of thing.
でもどうするの？他に場所探すったって。
No, there's no need to do that.
ん？
It's simple. All we have to do is be accepted as a club. That's what we were aiming for originally. There's no reason for us to be depressed, is there?
ああ、そっか。
Koteri nodded enthusiastically.
この程度、私たちにとっちゃ逆境でもなんでもないって、あのさ、飛岡先生の嫌がらせは 今に始まったことじゃないしね。
The test flight will have to be postponed a little longer, though.
皆さん、この私をコケにしてくれたこと必ず後悔させてやるわ。
It seemed that we needed to speed things up when it came to the restoration of the club, so that we could return to the sky as soon as possible. So, I guess once they're a club, they can go back to using the runway. Let's just go with that. Let's hope that's what happens. Asa had become a member, so one of Akari's conditions had been met, which meant there were 2 left to fulfill. The lack of a teacher to act as advisor, and the lack of qualified personnel. Excuse me. If the advisor were someone who had the qualifications, that would fulfill both at the same time, but that would be just too good to be true. I don't suppose Amane is going to be making a comeback soon.
すまんな。お前たちの気持ちはわかるんだが、俺も演劇部の顧問やってるから。
先生が演劇なんて似合わない。そうだそうだ。
うるさいよ。俺は今でこそ慶風学園で教師やってるが、本当は芸術家志望だったんだ。芸術はいいぞ。お前らもグライダーなんかやめて演劇部に入れ。
嫌です。お断りです。
先生ちょっと傷ついた。
poor guy. The teacher left, hurt, and we all slouched forward, dejected. That was our homeroom teacher, by the way.
やっぱダメか。
This isn't going very well.
どの先生ももうどこかの部活を受け持っているんですね。
Asa looked over a list as she spoke. That was a list of teachers at Keifu Academy that Agea had made. It had information on their homeroom, which clubs they were in charge of, and whether or not they were on Mr. Tobioka's side. Today, using that list, we've been going around and asking all the teachers who seemed like they might cooperate with us. But you did really well to get all of this information.
アゲハちゃんの情報網を甘く見ないでよね。あとは山野辺先生くらいか。
We can't ask him. Even more of his hair will go white.
そしたら今度こそ新妻と離婚の危機に。
Ouch. Mr. Yamanobe, our advisor last year, was young and married. His wife is a slender and pretty woman, and she was apparently shocked as she watched her husband age right before her eyes. I guess I can understand how she feels.
この際、そこは諦めてもらうしかないわ。
You can't just decide something like that.
そうだよ、かわいそうだよ。奥さん美人だって噂なのに。じゃあどうするのよ。それは。
Let's think of another way. Classes were done and we were taking a day off from club activities. The materials we ordered still hadn't arrived, so we couldn't progress further. Which was why, for the first time in a while, we had nothing to do after school.
アゲハ、今日部活ないんでしょ？どっか寄ってこうよ。ごめん、用事あるんだ。
Ageha refused the invitation of the girls in the class and came over to me.
ねえ、葵、暇でしょ？買い物付き合ってよ。
Where do you want to go?
ウィンティの地下街だけど。
Kotori went past us as we were talking. Kotori, what are you up to?
私秘密基地に寄って帰る。
Huh? Why's that?
ちょっとだけやっときたいことがあるの。
I see. I wonder what Asa's up to. We told her we'd be taking a day off, so perhaps she had gone somewhere to hang out with Yoru.
ねえ葵、付き合ってよ。
What should I do? Let me guess. Yep, that's what I thought. Okay. This is where we... Save,
データを上書きしたわ。
because we got 3 slots.
嘘よ。これからよ。
I will remind everyone we are taking the Kotori route. However, it is interesting that they're giving us the choice of Agea and Asa here now. Very interesting. That is... wow. We're definitely going with Kotori. If you guys want to see the other routes of this game, gotta get it yourself. I'm going to the secret base too.
ふーん。そう。
Agea sounded rejected as she said, "See you tomorrow," and left the classroom. Okay, now we need to save in that slot so we remember
前
which
の
one
デ
we
ー
were
タが
on.
消えちゃいますけど、いいですか？
Alright, let's go, Kotori.
アゲハの誘い断ってよかったの？
What do you mean?
だって
Huh?
葵くん、秘密基地に何か用事があるの？
Well, not really. Since Kotori was going, I just thought I'd join her. Even if I did go with Ageha, I'd only end up carrying her bags for her. You were about to say something just then. What was it?
別に何でもない。
We spoke on our way out of the school gate.
水瀬先輩。こんにちは先輩。
A group of freshman girls called out to me. Almost immediately, they had surrounded me. Hello?
今帰りなんですか？これから部活なんですか？
Yeah, well, I guess so. They seemed to be Asa's friends. It turns out that Asa had proudly talked about how she'd joined the soaring club in her classroom. They got interested, strangely enough, not in the glider, but in me. Now they came to greet me and asked all kinds of questions.
朝どんくさいから迷惑かけてるんじゃないですか？
That's not true. Asa's trying really hard. There wasn't anything really wrong with it, but I wasn't used to this sort of thing, so I felt kind of uncomfortable. Kotori watched me from outside the circle with a fake smile on her face.
ああ、葵くん、私先に行くから。
Wait!
先輩、かっこいいですよね。背も高いし、朝ちゃんがすごく優しいって言ってました。
Oh, did she now? No, I mean, hey, Kotori! Kotori had made a face that said she couldn't stay with me and had already gone off ahead. Well, guess who's popular? As I opened the metal door, I saw Kotori working alone in the hangar. I can't believe you left me behind!
あれ以上、葵くんのヘラヘラみっともない顔、見ていたくなかったんだもん。
She wasn't as angry as I thought she'd be, but she was still a little blunt. Come here, I bought you some ice cream. It's Hagen Dutch strawberry flavor. Kotori glared at me from a distance. Then she pushed her wheelchair towards me. Here you go.
ありがとう。
We sat in the corner of the hangar and ate the ice cream. It's best to eat ice cream in a hot place, yeah? Where we were now couldn't be any hotter.
ねえ、葵くん、
Yeah?
アイス食べさせとけば機嫌が治るだろうって とか思ってない？
With the plastic spoon still in her mouth, she gave me a sideways look. I don't think so.
まあいいけど、美味しいから。
I guess that was her perspective on it, but it looked like she accepted this as form of apology. What were you doing?
道具の手入れ、あとは掃除とか。
You came here all by yourself to do that? Kotori nodded while eating her ice cream. We could all do that tomorrow, together.
みんなとだと、私足手まといになるし。
She still thinks of herself as a burden. Kotori seemed a bit sullen as she spoke. I reflected on having said something that didn't need... Wow. I reflected on having said something that didn't need to be said. Since Kotori's in a wheelchair, she couldn't get around as easily as everyone else. No one had ever thought about her as a burden, but I guess there was a difference in the amount of work she could do. Kotori was worried about that, and everyone else seemed to be aware of that.
何かするとき、みんなが私のこと気遣ってるの、分かってるの。それが嫌なの、悲しくなる。
Yeah. We couldn't completely avoid looking out for her. The reason we did it was that she was important to us. But I can understand why that makes things tough for her. When I got injured and had to quit the cycling club, I had my friends look out for me, and it made me happy, but it was also tough. Kotori usually didn't let it show when she struggled with anything. She could be cheerful at times and also make selfish requests like it's no big deal. The fact that she can say what she really thinks around us is a relief to us.
情けないわ、本当。私、部長なのに。滑走路の時も迷惑かけちゃったし。
I think you know this, but no one except you worries about it. Tears appeared in Kotori's eyes. Don't start crying all of a sudden. Come on, you'll spoil the ice cream that I went to the effort of buying for you. She hung her head even more. I didn't know what had triggered this, but she went into faint-hearted mode. I put my hand on her head, the same as always, and started stroking it. There, there, it's nothing to cry about, is it?
泣いてないもん。これは汗だもん。
Kotori started sniffing. Kotori worked hard this year as the leader, even though the club had been disbanded. She didn't have the same level of expert knowledge or technique as Ageha, and she couldn't be a pilot like me either. It looked like there was nothing that only Kotori could do. But, in the past, like the time that we found out that Amane would be leaving, whenever there's a difficult situation, Kotori was always the one who said, "We're going to do it like this," and took charge of all of us. Kotori had a straightforward nature, like a child, yet always acted like a compass, showing us the direction we should go. Almost said campus there, like a college campus. Hey, your ice cream's gonna melt. Kotori slowly ate her ice cream while crying. She looked like a child who'd become timid after being scolded by her mother. It was kind of cute.
何？
It's nothing. Come on, eat up. I couldn't help myself looking at her crying, and without thinking, I blushed while trying to cover it up. I think everyone knows how hard she's trying. She couldn't walk properly, so even something like pushing her wheelchair all the way to the secret base all by herself was really tough. But to Kotori, that was perfectly natural. But she was also worried about not being able to move around like everyone else. She had an unusually strong sense of responsibility, so she was always concerned with being an inconvenience to anyone. However, originally, the girl known as Kotori Habane was just a regular girl. She looked cute, and her grades and general sporting abilities were probably better than most people, but that's about it. Also, she was easily moved to tears, a little self-conscious, and when she tries too hard, she cried easily. I guess it started from the time I persuaded her not to quit school. It had been my duty to comfort her. It seemed like she only cried in front of me. Maybe that's why she needed. I thought that, when she cried, she could let out all the things she'd been bottling up. There. You're trying so hard, Kotori. You're trying so hard.
もうバカにしないで。
While still crying, she gave me a punch in the side. It didn't really hurt, though. I stroked her head and hugged her gently. Sorry, but this is kind of embarrassing. As I spoke honestly to her, Kotori pushed her forehead to my chest, then cried without making a sound. Of course I wanted to help. I wanted her to stop crying, but a part of me just wanted to stay like this a while longer.
ありがとう。もう復活した。
Kotori said, as she moved her forehead away from me. She poured the melted ice cream into her mouth as if she was drinking some juice. Anytime you need to borrow my chest, you let me know. I won't charge you any rental fees, I said jokingly. Then,
当然よ。私みたいな美少女の頭撫でたり、軽く抱きしめたりできるんだから。そういうの約束って言うんでしょ？
okay. You can't say things like that about yourself, you know.
ほら、もう帰っていいわよ。
So now that you've stopped crying, my work here is done?
さっきの1年生の女の子らと遊んでくれば？
She went back to work as she said it. Oh, is this what they call jealousy? Whoosh. Whoa, that's dangerous. A spanner came flying at me.
欲しい。
What the hell are you doing? What would you have done if that had hit me?
なんで私が焼きもちなんか焼かなくちゃいけないのよ。バカじゃないの？
But it sounds like you're jealous to me. Whoosh, whoosh. Whoa! This time it was a screwdriver and a pair of nippers that came flying.
さっさと帰ってちょうだい。作業の邪魔だから。
Said Kotori while clutching a power drill. Sensing the danger, I did as she told me. Alright, I'm off now. But if you need anything, you can reach me on my cell. Also, let me know when you're going to leave. I'll come and get you.
いらない。
No. Once it gets dark, I can't let you go back by yourself. Make sure you call me, okay? As I made my point, I opened the metal doors and left the hangar.
どうせ私なんか女の子だって思ってないくせに。
There's a lot that just happened in that scene. Wow. I went back to my room and sat down on the bed. I had nothing to do. Having no club activities made me realize just how long a day can be. I took my cell phone from my pocket and noticed that I had received a text. For a moment, I thought it was from Amane, and I hurriedly opened the message, but it's from Tatsuya? I was a little disappointed, and while apologizing on the inside of Tatsuya, I read the text. Have you met with Amane yet? Huh? She was having a meeting at our factory. She said she might stop by at the Flying Fish Manor afterwards. Amane's here? The text was sent over 2 hours ago. Kaneko!
どうした？
Did Amane come by?
望月先輩？いや、来てないよ。ゆかさん、望月先輩来てませんか？今日は来客なかったと思うけど。
Thank you! I thanked them quickly before I ran out of the dormitory.
あいつ寄らなかったのか、飛び要素に。
When I called Tatsuya, he went through the trouble of coming around in his truck. I got in and we drove around the station, but we saw no sign of Amane. I tried to call her, but she didn't answer, so maybe she'd already gotten on the train.
すまん。メールじゃなく電話にしておけばよかったな。まさか寄らずに帰るとは思ってなかったんだ。
It seemed like she had gone to Tatsuya's factory to order some parts. There was no one else she could ask for such complex parts. When she was about to leave, Tatsuya asked if she was planning to come see us, and she replied yes. However, she does have sudden changes in mind, so she might have decided not to see us. I had already told Kotori and Ageha about it. They were both happy that Amane was coming to Kazegora, and when they found out that she had left without seeing them, they said, "I can't believe it. Amane, you idiot." Oh no, what a shame. I wanted to see her. And so on, expressing their regret.
納品前にもう一度打ち合わせすることになってる。その時は先に教えるようにするよ。
Okay, thanks, Tatsuya.
寮まで送っていこう。
No, here's fine. I have some shopping to do for dinner anyway.
そうか。じゃあ、またな。
Thanks, Tatsuya. As Tatsuya's truck drove away, I stood there, dazed. It was true that I had to do some shopping, but I didn't feel like doing it right away. I wanted to see Amane. That feeling had suddenly become much stronger. Was I being downhearted because the Soaring Club wasn't doing so well? Or did I want her to praise us for working so hard? I'm thirsty. I went into the convenience store in front of me to buy some juice. Let me guess. Nah, guess not. Then I wandered around the area. This was to ease my feelings of not knowing what to do. I decided to go shopping once I calmed down. While I was wandering around, I found myself at the runway. Only a few days ago, the runway looked quite tidy after we had cut the grass, but before that it was a complete mess. There was a trail worn into that grass now. These were marks from where the wheels of the glider had run over it so many times. Usually, a glider was launched into the oncoming wind. However, it was difficult for us to move the winch depending on the direction of the wind, so we took off in the same direction. I stood in the middle of the huge, wide runway and gazed towards the winch. Memories of the acceleration, of being pulled by the tow rope, then floating into the sky came flooding back to me. As I looked up, I saw the bright blue sky and in the distance a towering thunderhead. I envisioned riding on the wind in the glider. I can't wait to fly in our glider. I had been traveling to the airfield for training, but flying in the glider that we made felt totally different. The wind that flew over Kazegara was different from the others. Huh? I saw someone next to the winch. Their outline was shimmering in the hot air, so I couldn't see so well, but what are they doing? It looked like they were doing something with the winch. Was it some sort of prank, or were they trying to steal some parts? Anyway, I couldn't just leave this alone. As I ran over to them, the person closed the cover, then noticed me. There was quite a distance between us, but somehow I knew that our eyes had met. The next moment, the person began to wave their hand. Then they started jumping up and down. Could it be?
Oi! Aoi-kun daro?
Amane? I was already running when I shouted out in surprise. Amane! It sure is.
やっぱり葵くんだ。
What? What are you doing here? That was the only thing I could think to say at all. But the way that I said it without thinking almost sounded like I was angry at her.
いや、ウインチがまた壊れてないかチェックしておこうと思ってな。ちゃんとメンテナンスしてるみたいだな。問題は見つからなかったぞ。
Of course.
そうか。そうだな。君たちは私なんかと違ってしっかり者揃いだものな。
It's true. No, I didn't mean it like that. What are you doing here?
だからウインチの調子を。
No, not that. Why did you just go to the runway without saying anything to the rest of us? You could have contacted us.
ああ、うん。だってもう私のことなんて忘れてるんじゃないかと思って。
How can we forget about you? Aren't we always texting you?
そうか、そうだったな。あ、でもメールは仕事の依頼やクライアントからの最速メールに混ざってるから気づかないことが多くてな。たまに間違えて一緒にゴミ箱に。
I heard from Tatsuya that you were coming, but you still didn't contact us, so I...
すまない。いきなり行くと迷惑かもしれないと思ったんだ。
So why not just message us before you come?
それはそれで迷惑かもしれないし。だってもう私のことなんか。
Good old Miss Scatterbrain. I just told you. That was all I said, as I let out a huge sigh. Common sense doesn't really work for Amane Mochizuki.
ごめんよ、葵くん。
No, I'm sorry as well. But I've been calling you on your cell phone over and over. You didn't notice that either?
ああ、携帯電話ならラボに置いてきた。
Why?
だってあれうるさいんだ。毎日作業の進捗を聞いてきて。携帯電話もメールも便利な道具じゃない。人間を束縛する悪のツールだと私は思うぞ。
Sheesh, really? I let out another huge sigh. What happened to all my impatience and desperation that I had until just now?
元気だったかい？
Yeah, pretty good. Kotori and Akeha too.
そっか、よかった。
How about you, Amane?
私は普通だ。みんなから相変わらずだなって言われてるぞ。
Mistaking that for a compliment, Amane puffed out her chest proudly. Oh boy, poor girl. The same as always. I was relieved to hear that. Not just that she was doing alright. If she hadn't changed, that means she was still the same Amane we knew from the time we were working at the garage. Amane was no longer a student, but was now a part of society and working hard. Which means that she's now an adult and lives in a different world from us.
ウインチ、メンテナンスはしているようだが、最近使われた形跡はなかったな。飛んでないのか？
That's right. After the demolition of the garage, I had sent her a text briefly summarizing the recent events. If she hadn't accidentally deleted it along with all her work emails, she would know about it. But most of it was good news, and I didn't really write about the bad stuff. I didn't want to have her worrying about us after she left school. I explained what had actually been going on.
そんなことになっていたのか。すまない。私のせいでみんなに迷惑をかけて。
It's not your fault, Amane. It's nobody's fault, really. If I had to say, it was Mr. Tobioka's fault, but he might have had his own reasons. The truth is, the Soaring Club garage was in the way for building the student dormitory. It's hardly ever a fair compromise when it comes to the needs of adults and the needs of kids.
今日はいい具合に雲が出てて気流も荒れてるから、ここへ来れば飛んでるところを見られるかもと思ったんだ。でもそうか、あれからまだ飛べていなかったのか。
Amane's expression darkened. Perhaps she felt responsible for it. Oh yeah, do you have time after this? I'll call Age and Kotari, so please come to our place for dinner. I'll introduce you to our newest member, too.
葵くんのご飯。
Amane wiped away the drool from her mouth.
それはとても嬉しい申し出だが、もう行かなくちゃいけない。帰ってすぐ仕事があるんだ。
Oh, really?
すまない。
Nope, no problem. If you'd contacted us sooner... As I mumbled angrily, Amane seemed hurt as she held her hands to her chest.
ごめんよ。
Please think about it. We really wanted to see you, you know.
うん、わかった。
She answered in a childish way, which made me laugh a little.
じゃあ、私はもう行くよ。
By train? I'll go with you part of the way. I have to go shopping anyway.
ああ、頼む。
And that's how I had a surprise reunion with Amane. I guessed, at the beginning of the stream, I guessed that we would see her again soon. And this is how he dies.
あまねちゃんと会ったの？
Yeah, I just happened to run into her when I went to the runway.
なんですぐ呼ばないのよ。
Well, Amane had to leave.
葵くんだけずるい。
Yeah, I'm sorry, but it really was only for a short time. Looks like she'll be coming back soon, so I told her to come by and see us then.
私も会いたかった。あまねちゃんに。
Sorry. I felt like I was blameless in the situation, but I apologized anyway. I knew exactly how Kotari felt.
今度来るのね。今度っていつ？
3 days from now.
3日後、あまねちゃんに会えるんだ。
A big smile spread across Kotari's face.
メールの返事、ろくにしてこないこと、しっかり文句言ってやるんだから。
Don't go too far. Amane would probably become really downhearted if you do that.
ふっふっふ。あまねちゃんめ、今に見てなさい。
Okay. and this is how Aoi dies.
あまね先輩と会ったの？
Yeah, it just happened to run into her when I was on the runway.
なんですぐ呼ばないかな。
Well, Amane had to leave.
葵だけずるい。
Why are you giving me the exact same response as Kotari? At school, I told Ageha the exact same thing I had told Kotari the day before, and she gave exactly the same response. There was a strong sense of unity in the Soaring Club.
あさってまた来るんだって。マジで？来るってどこに来るの？どこ？
I think she's gonna come and eat at Flying Fish Manor. Since it did look like she was looking forward to it. Then we would be able to see the eating techniques that ruined her good looks.
どうせなら秘密基地に来てもらおうよ。それ、私も言おうと思ってた。今の私たちの活動をあまねちゃんに見てもらいたい。
Yeah, I agree. We all thought the same thing. The thing that Amane left behind, the thing that we had inherited from her, and how much we had grown. We wanted her to see that what we had been doing. Hey, I have a suggestion.
ん？何？
My idea is... I told everyone about the idea that had occurred to me last night. And I guess we'll have to find out what that is later. 3 days later, as promised, Amane came to Kazagora.
いやあみんな元気だったかい？元気だよ。ねみんな。この通りです。クワクワ。
Ah, Hattie's back.
ハットも元気だったか。
In the afternoon, after finishing her work at Tatsuya's factory, she came by Flying Fish Manor.
あまねちゃんはどうなの？元気だぞ。そうなんだ。ねえ、ちょっと前かがみになってみて。こうか？じゃあなんでメールの返事しないんだ
Whack! Right in the middle of Amane's head, Kotori gave her a great big karate chop. Whoa, what are you doing?
バカコトリー、先輩の貴重な脳細胞にもしものことがあったらどうすんの？ほんと、今日はこのくらいにしといてやるわ。ひどいぞ、コトリー。
Okay. Amane rubbed the top of her head where it had been chopped with tears in her eyes. I kind of felt sorry for her.
あの人があまねさん？思ってたより変ね。でも綺麗だよ。背も高くて優しそう。天才となんとかは紙一重って言うけど、限りなくなんとかの方に近そうね。
You know everyone can hear what you're saying, including Amane. Even if Amane did, she probably wouldn't care.
紹介するわ。この子が新しく入った後輩の朝よ。この子が。私じゃないです。
Asa's hiding. Asa was hiding behind Yoru. That's just what I said.
朝、ちゃんと挨拶して。この人が偉大な大先輩、望月あまねちゃんよ。
After being chopped on the head, it was hard to think of her as our great predecessor, but Asa seemed really humble in front of her. She really was a good girl.
はじめまして、風戸朝です。望月あまねだ。よろしくな、朝。
Asa was really excited by Amane being so friendly towards her and giving her a handshake. Because Kotori had told her so many times about how great Amane was, it seemed that Asa had believed every word of it.
こっちの子は？ただの部外者です。どうぞお気になさらずに。そうか、わかった。
Sarcasm didn't work on Amane. She just took it at face value and seemed like she was making an effort to pretend Yoru wasn't there. Oh, literally.
じゃあ早速ご飯にしよう。もうお腹ペコペコだ。はあ？何言ってんのよ、あまねちゃん。今日は葵くんのご飯を食べに来たんだぞ。
And that's the only reason.
私らに会いに来てくれたんでしょ？
And this is how Amane dies.
それもある。
It was like she was admitting that meeting us was an afterthought.
私たち先輩に見せたいものがあるんです。そうなのか。じゃあご飯の後で。ご飯の前、葵くん、パンパンかなんかない？
I gave her bread that I forgot to eat during lunch. Here, eat this to keep your hunger at bay.
はあ、うぐいすパンだ。さあ、行くわよ。
Okay.
久しぶりだな、ここに来るのは。
Amane spoke as we climbed the gentle sloped path of Windmill Hill. We did fly over this hill a lot during the test flight. Flying over here felt good, so it was a regular course when we were testing.
来年ここに私が設計した風車が立つんだ。
Just, casually dropping that.
そうなんですか？
Amane nodded.
グライダー製作で得た空気力学なんかのアイデアを使って新しい風車をデザインしてみたんだ。実験的に何機かここに建てられることになっている。
新しい風車が建つんですか？
For some reason, Asa seemed excited and jumped into the conversation.
ああ、来年だけどな。仕事の片手間に設計図を書いていたら他のスタッフに見つかってしまってな。知らない間に実際に作ることになっていたんだ。
She also told us that the reason why she was receiving so many texts and phone calls. She was still a natural-born klutz, or should I say a genius. While we were having this conversation, we arrived at our destination. Here it is, Amane.
おお。
ささ、入って入って。
Entering the hangar, Amane looked up at the high ceiling.
ここは
ここが私たちの新しい秘密基地よ。朝ちゃんと夜ちゃんに使わせてもらってるんです。
Amane looked around at the hangar's facilities.
これはすごいな。随分と本格的じゃないか。
でしょ？朝たちのおかげよ。
Thanks to this place, the plan that we've been working on is proceeding smoothly.
温めてきた計画？
We grinned while standing in front of the glider, which was there.
これは
やっと気づいたみたい。まあ、まだ全然途中だからね。
While Kotori and Agea whispered to each other, Awade looked over at the aircraft still being built.
やっぱりだ。これって
We're improving it according to the blueprints that you left behind.
私の設計図。
そうよ。あまねちゃんがイスタのためにデザインしたやつね。
Agea held out the blueprints that were there. Amane looked at them quietly, and it wasn't clear if it was with a sense of nostalgia or sadness.
あの設計図ってあまねさんが書いたんだって。
君たちはバカだな。こんなものただの机上の空論なのに。
そんなことない。実現させるもん。活動場所がなくて何もできなかった間、私たちずっとこの図面を見ながら話し合ってきました。どうすれば実現させられるかって。
We even discussed if each part was possible to make, too. We hypothesized the actual construction of all the parts in the plans and carried out a realistic simulation. That was really painstaking work. But thanks to that, we were sure that we could make it. That's why we can do it.
みんな
私たちは絶対に行くの。その時はあまね先輩も一緒です。
We're working really hard on this, so we have to fly it.
やっぱりバカだな、君たちは。
あまねちゃんの後輩なんだもん。しょうがないじゃん。
あ、まったくだ。姉さん？
私も。
Asa held her hand up and ran towards us. Then she slipped and fell over. Are you okay, Asa?
平気です。それより私も一緒に飛びたいです、先輩。もちろんよ。あんたはもう私たちの後輩なんだから。そうそう。嬉しいです。
何よ、姉さんまで熱くなっちゃって。ほんとバカみたい。
I wonder if Yoru has an actual reason to hate this, or if she just doesn't like what everyone else likes. Good question.
いい拠点を見つけたな。 ここならのびのびと制作できそうじゃないか。
After we showed Amane the facilities, we moved from the hangar into the office. She seemed to be relieved. Amane must have been worried about us even after she left.
どうぞあまねさん、オレンジジュースです。ありがとう、朝。
It seemed like Asa had gotten quite friendly with her already. Anyway, Amane, there's something I'd like to discuss with you. I spoke to her in a somewhat formal tone. Nervous expressions appeared on Kotori and Akea's face. The reason why we brought you here is not to show you the new base.
そうなのか?
I nodded. I know what the plan is. Then I looked at Kotori and Agea once more to confirm our intentions. They both nodded back at me to tell me to go for it. Asa was nervous, and all she could do was grip the soda bottle in her hand tightly. Amane, can you become our advisor? I mentioned to you before that since we don't have an advisor, we can't be officially recognized as a club. After that, we asked several teachers, but of course they turned us down.
グライダーの専門知識を持ってる先生なんていないし、飛岡先生からも睨まれているので、もし顧問になってくれても資格を持ってないんじゃあんまり意味ないし。
But you have all the required qualifications, and you have experience managing a glider.
それはまあそうだが、でも私は先生じゃないぞ。
That shouldn't be a problem. I am the one who thought of this suggestion earlier in the stream, at the very beginning. I will remind all of you. Before I changed schools, I was in the cycling club, and the coach was a former pro who had been invited from outside the school. Bringing in someone from the outside to be a coach was common in high-level sports clubs. Even art-based clubs did it. Amane had graduated from our school, so she was already familiar with the school. This meant that the chances of it being permitted were much higher than bringing in a total stranger.
お願い、あまねちゃんしかいないの。お忙しいとは思うんですけど。
Seeing us all bowing our heads, Amane started to think. She walked around the office, then picked up the picture frame that was on the shelf.
あの時。
He is tall! Wow! He is tall. They're right.
私はグライダーと関わるのはもう最後にしようと思っていた。私の専門分野とは違うし、高いところはあまり好きじゃないからな。それにもうイスカはいない。
Iska is no longer here. That meant that Amane didn't have any reason to continue having anything to do with gliders. Amane.
いいの？それで。だってあの時もう少しで届きそうだったのに。届きそうで届かなかった。きっとそういうことなんだと思う。
Amane spoke as if she had given up already. That time you already knew what you wanted to do. As Amane answered without hesitation, the rest of us hung our heads. It really was all in the past, Amane and gliders. We kind of knew this already, but now the truth we didn't want to accept was right there in front of us. Amane looked at herself in the photograph. The picture of herself with a slightly awkward smile on her face.
でも私は君たちに返しきれないほどの恩がある。今度は私が君たちの力になる番だ。
Yes.
じゃあ、引き受けよう。
Yes!
やったー。
All right.
やったよ、小鳥、葵。
Yeah! We'll be able to do something about it now.
よかったですね、先輩。
We all gave each other high fives and hugged each other to express our joy.
まったくもう脅かさないでよ、あまねちゃん。本当ですよ。
実はな、さっき話した新型の風車なんだが、特別実習という形で慶風学園の生徒が建設プロジェクトに参加することになっているんだ。
ああ、それなんか聞いたことあるかも。大掛かりな体験実習があるから希望する生徒は申し出るようにって、そのことだったんだ。
They were probably only taking senior students. That would explain why we hadn't heard anything about it. I wonder where Agea heard that rumor.
私はその授業で講師をするんだ。
Amane proudly stuck out her chest. It had been a while since I'd seen her being that proud of herself.
どうだ？すごいだろう。私は先生だぞ。大人なんだぞ。
As always, the thing she was boasting about was a bit off the mark. Instead of just being a teacher, being in charge of a huge public works project would be the point she would brag about.
じゃあ、あまね先輩が授業をするんですか？
まあな。
Those poor students. Amane continued to stick out her chest even more. The rest of us... There's no way she could do that, is there? Amane's terrible at teaching people.
慣れないと先輩語を理解するのは難しいよね。かわいそうよ。選ばれた優秀な生徒たちがかわいそうよ。
学校で会ったらちゃんと望月先生って呼ぶんだぞ。
留年しまくっていい年して学生続けてた人が今さら何言ってたか。
While we were having that kind of conversation,
なるほど。それで風車か。あれってあなたの設計だったのね。ん？
Yoru, did you know about the plan?
ええ。だってそのプロジェクトにお金出してるのうちのおじいちゃんなんだもん。
そうなの？
慶風学園の生徒が参加できるのもおじいちゃんの差し金よ。学校の実績につながるし、いい宣伝にもなるしね。私も参加しろって言われたけど、面倒だから断ったわ。
Oh, is that so? Now the conversation was going off on a completely different tangent. Anyway, somehow Amane accepted. We've taken another step forward.
じゃあ帰ろう。お腹がペコペコだ。
To feed Amane, we started to head back to Flying Fish Manor. A few days later, we boldly made the trip to the student council room with Amane, who had come to school for the special training exercise. With all the conditions fulfilled, we received approval from Akari for the restoration of the Soaring Club.
まさか望月先輩を引っ張り出してくるなんて。
She seemed a bit shocked, but she continued on to tell Amane about joining the new windmill construction project. That was easy. Then the next day,
ごめんなさい。
during lunch break, Akari had come to visit our class. The first thing she said was an apology. What's wrong, Akari? Let me guess, Tobioka?
あかりさん、ここは俺が。
Masatsugu, who had been following her like a servant, tried to go ahead of her, but Akari held him back.
いえ、私からお話しします。一体何なの、会長。あなたたちソアリング部の件なんですが、部活への復帰は職員会議で却下されました。どうしてですか？条件は整っているのに。厳密にはまだ却下はされていないのだけれど、一部の先生が強硬に反対し、結論はうやむやになったそうよ。
When she said some of the teachers, we could guess who she meant without her having to tell us.
ダメよそんなの。承認されなきゃ却下されたのと同じじゃない。
Akari nodded with a gloomy expression. We fulfilled all the conditions you gave us. What other problems could there possibly be?
望月先輩は臨時の講師であり、またお忙しい身でもあるわ。クラブの顧問は荷が重いのではないかというのが反対していた先生方の言い分よ。
そんなの天音先輩の勝手じゃないですか。先輩はやってくれるって言ってるのに。
ええ、私もそう思うわ。でも先生方はせっかくの望月天音というリソースを無駄に割くことに批判的なのよ。
ちょっと無駄って何よ無駄って。
お前らギャーギャーうるさいんだよ。あかりさんはな、お前らなんかのためにギリギリまで頑張ったんだぞ。あの飛び岡のおっさんのところにも直接乗り込んでいって。
いいの田崎くん、もともとそういう約束だったんだもの。力が及ばなかったのは私のせいよ。責められても仕方がないわ。
Yeah. I genuinely feel sorry for her. From the beginning, she's been tough but fair, and she can see that this is unfair, so I feel bad for her. She is trying.
別に私らは会長を責めたいわけじゃ。そうですよ。悪いのは先生で。
Isn't there something, Akari?
このままうやむやにさせるつもりはありませんが、今すぐどうにかできる問題でもないと思います。ですから我々生徒会がソアリング部を部活動として承認します。これが生徒会が発行した書類です。
She handed us the document, which showed that the Soaring Club restoration had been approved by the Student Council. It had the proper seal stamped on it, too.
わずかですが生徒会の予備予算から部費も出します。滑走路の件もこちらから連絡して使用許可をいただきました。
仕事早っ。
何かあったら生徒会で引き受けますとは言い切れないのが申し訳ないのだけれど、ですから慎重になるべく問題を起こさないようクラブ活動に勤しんでください。
ありがとう会長。
Thank you very much.
ございます。
それでは私はこれで。
Akari gave me a bow, then dragged Matsutsugu with her on the way out.
あ、そうだ。以前学校の倉庫から紛失したグライダーですが、
Gulp.
もしどこかで発見されればそれはあなたたちのものよ。ソアリング部の備品として好きに使ってくれていいわ。
Well, how about that? Akari gave a grin as she said that.
それでは失礼すればね。
意外と融通きくんだね。
She might not want others to know it, but it seems like she's cheering for the Soaring Club.
私あの人のことちょっと好きになっちゃった。
So that's how our Soaring Club made a safe, well, sort of, return after a year off. Excellent. If you happen to find it somewhere, it's yours. Go ahead. Perfect. Wake up, Kotari! Breakfast has been ready for a while now. Hey, Kotari!
おはよう。今何時？
7:34. Breakfast is ready, so get changed and get in here. Is today the day?
いただきます。
Kotari, still looking sleepy, stuffed her face with food.
はい、ハット。わわ。
Hattie ate some food too.
おはようございます小鳥先輩。おはようございますハバネ先輩。
おはよう双子シスターズ。
お寝坊ですか？珍しいですね。
昨日の夜試験勉強張り切りすぎちゃったのよ。
Ah, that's the saddest part of this whole VN right there. That right there, having to study for exams. Nothing has made me feel more sad than reading that.
この間の試験で順位落ちてたから取り戻さないと。飛び岡に舐められるからね。
It's because you were busy with club activities. Hey, your hair is all kinds of messed up. While still holding your chopsticks and rice bowl, Kotori looked over at me. I just can't believe you. I brushed Kotori's hair as she continued her breakfast. It's all tangled. You have such beautiful hair. You should take care of it.
もうちょっと優しくしてよ。
Sorry, got stuck on something.
枝毛になったらどうしてくれるのよ。自慢の髪なんですからね。
Yeah, okay. While talking, I brushed Kotori's hair as gently as I could. It was just as she bragged. Her hair was luxurious, smooth, and soft. Your hair feels so nice.
でしょ？ハト、お食べ。
なんだろうすごく見てはいけないものを見ている気分になるよね。
Yeah, this is a little close. Closer than what we've seen from them so far, right?
自覚がないのがたちが悪いわね。姉さんも撫でてもらえば。
Good night, everybody.
いいよ私は。
ごちそうさ
Okay, I'll clean up, so go prepare.
葵先輩って小鳥先輩と仲いいですよね。
You think so?
っていうか付き合ってるんじゃないの？
Why would you say that?
ねえ姉さん。私もそう思っちゃいます。
No way. I guess we get along, but
なんだ違うのか。
why did Asa sound disappointed? What was she expecting? We're 15 minutes behind schedule. Let's hurry.
オッケー。
Oh, I understood that. I understand a lot of this, actually. After playing this game for so long, I actually understand a lot of the words. Kotori had gotten energy from breakfast, and her eyes were alert. Hang on tight! I ran with all my might while pushing Kotori's wheelchair.
いけー。
待ってくださいよ。車椅子を押して全力で走る人なんて初めて見たわ。
飛ばせー。
Okay. We were now in the middle of finals. The student body was giving the tests their all. As for us...
あまねちゃんも戻ってきてくれたし、いよいよって感じよね。飛び岡が文句言ってきても滑走路さえ使えたらこっちのものなんだから。空の上からあいつを見下ろしてお尻ペンペンしてやるわ。
Yeah, she still hasn't flown. I can't
分かっ
believe
たか
that.
ら手動かせ。
We're doing a great job despite these tests, huh?
しゃあないでしょう。一日でも早く完成させてテストしなきゃ間に合わないんだから。
モーニンググローリーにね。この夏モーニンググローリーは必ず来るわ。絶対に間に合わせるのよ。
だから一人で盛り上がってないで手動かしなさいってば。
Kotori's overnight cramming seemed to have paid off. She had handled her test well, and was in a good mood.
すみません遅くなりました。
Asa and Yoru entered.
遅いぞ。何？すみません。試験中は自由参加だって言ってたの部長のあんたでしょ？
Are you two okay? There are more tests tomorrow, you know.
私は平気だけど姉さんは
Yoru glanced at Asa, who hung her head.
大丈夫だと思います。
赤点なんか取ったら承知しないからね。ソアリング部の恥よ恥。
頑張ります。
Gosh,
うざいくらいテンション上がっちゃってるわね。
as if they're not already under enough pressure during finals week. She's high from lack of sleep.
試験が終わったらもう夏休み。モーニンググローリーはいつ来るかわからないんだからね。
そうだ、夏休みはどんな風に活動するんですか？
Now that you mention it, I hadn't decided on anything in particular. We generally worked from morning till night, or as long as we could, but we could hardly ask Asa to do the same. Right after summer vacation started last year, we had a training camp, didn't we?
合宿ですか？
Asa's eyes sparkled with excitement. Seeing this, Yoru grumbled. She seemed to find the whole thing bothersome.
ぜひ今年もやりましょう。私キャンプでもいいですよ。
Nah, there isn't much reason to do it this year. We had applied for a camp as a pretext to be able to stay late on school grounds. But since the hangar where we were at now wasn't on school grounds, we could stay as late as we wanted to.
懐かしいわね。あまねちゃんやアゲハも飛び予想に来て一緒にご飯作って食べたりしたのよね。
It was around that time, wasn't it? When we all became close.
そうそう。それまで私と小鳥超仲悪かったしね。
Agea said this with a devilish laugh.
それはもう昔の話よ。今じゃこんなに仲良しだもんね。
Agea clung to Kotori.
愛してるよ小鳥ちゃん。暑苦しい。くっつくな。
Kotori pushed her away with all her might. Asa looked on with an expression of awe, mixed with maybe a bit of jealousy.
やはり絆を深めるには。
Nah, we're not going to do a camp.
なんでですか？
Amane was busy, so she couldn't come. Asa was a boarding student. Agea lived near here. There was no point gathering everyone at Flying Fish Manor because everyone lived close by anyway.
いいな。私も合宿したかったです。
Asa looked miserable. But I was sure when summer vacation rolled around that everybody would be at the hangar all the time anyway.
ところで姉さん、あれはいいの？あれ？
Asa remembered something and rummaged through her bag. And then...
小鳥先輩、ちょっといいですか？
Asa pulled Kotori to the edge of the hangar. We watched on from afar.
これ小鳥先輩にって。
何これ？手紙？
さっき帰るとき知らない男の人に声かけられて小鳥先輩に渡してほしいって。
Does she have a secret admirer?
最初断ったんですけど、どうしてもって言われて。渡しましたからね。
As if she couldn't wait to get away, Asa came running back, her light footsteps echoing around the hangar. Kotori remained as still as a statue, holding whatever Asa had given her. What's wrong with her?
その。
Kotori opened the item she received from Asa and looked inside. After a few moments, Kochali leaned back in her wheelchair and screamed. It was as if she had discovered an explosive inside what Asa had given her. What happened? I hurried over and... poof! Kochali hurriedly hid the item in her hands behind her back, as though it were something I was absolutely forbidden to see. What's up with you? Your face is completely red. I had never before seen an expression that so perfectly fit the phrase beet red. Kochali was blushing deeply and tears welled up in her eyes. For some reason, she was shivering. Kochali? Without saying a word, Kochali shook her head slightly and started pushing the wheels of her wheelchair. She then sped off. What happened to her? As I stood there confused, the door opened again and Kochali poked her head out. Everyone's gonna know but him?
なに？いいからこっち来て。
Everyone's gonna know but him.
だから何をだ。これはもしや
Yep.
ラブレターですか。そうみたい。驚くべきことにね。
A secret admirer.
どうしようアゲハ。どうしたらいいと思う？落ち着きなって。小鳥は美人さんなんだし、ラブレターくらいもらったことあるでしょ？あるわ、いっぱい。
Oh yeah. Yeah, that. Yeah, totally. I got.
だったら別に驚くことでもないでしょうに。けどそれは足がこんな風になる前の話だもん。相手誰なの？知らない。あ、名前書いてある。どれどれ？あ、ロボット部の宮田じゃん。頭いいし顔もいいしで結構女子に人気ある子だよ。好きです、ハバネさん。僕とお付き合いしてくださいか。どうしたらいい？ねえ、アゲハ。何を困ることがあるかな。いいと思うなら付き合えばいいし、そうじゃないならお断りすればいいじゃない。でも私、ああ、お試しってのもあるか。そんなんあるか。どうしよう、困るよこんなの。なんで？もしかして他に好きな相手でもいるの？
Possibly.
そんなの考えたこともなかった。
After a while, Ageha returned alone.
なんか小鳥、寝不足で調子悪いから先帰るって。私送ってくるね。
Oh, okay.
それじゃ。
She said only that and then left again. Somehow I felt like I was left behind. Just what was that? Kochali had acted so strangely just now. She was obviously hiding something. What in the world did you give her?
あのですね、先輩。それはですね。
Oh, sorry. If it's something you can't say, don't worry about it.
ラブレターでしょ。
Huh?
夜じゃん。この思わせぶりな状況で答えだけ教えないなんて、さすがに気の毒じゃないかしら。
Leave it to Yoru to be blunt.
そうだよね。さっき帰る時に知らない上級生の男の人から小鳥先輩に手紙を渡してほしいって断ろうとしたんですけど、すごく必死でどうしてもってお願いされて。ソアリング部の後輩だと知ってたみたいだったから、多分声をかけやすい姉さんに手紙を託したんでしょうね。 だってあの人いつも葵さんとアゲハ先輩と一緒にいるもの。
A love letter. That was why she was making that face earlier. At any rate, it was a love letter. A love letter. Huh.
葵先輩、どうしましょう。
What should we do? I guess we'll just have to let things play out. Kotori didn't seem altogether displeased.
そうじゃなくて、今日の部活です。
Again, Kotori had already gone back. That meant it would have been difficult to continue working. Let's call it a day.
なんかすみません。
And I think that's a good stopping point here too, for the stream.
まんざらでもないって顔だね。
データ上書きしちゃってもいいの
Oh,
よ
let me
ね。
just triple check. Yeah, that looks right.
デ
Okay.
ータ上書きしちゃってもいいのよね。
Okay. That was day 13 of If My Heart Had Wings. Hope everyone enjoyed. I know I have been enjoying this game. So I will be back next Sunday to continue my playthrough of this game. In the meantime, I will be back on Tuesday to play something else. So hope to see you all then. Until then, on behalf of East Asia Soft, I have been Skull. Have yourselves a great day and a great week, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.